Hit record.
Okay. If you're wondering why Rob's laughing and Ev is giving a nervous smile, it's because I'm pretty sure while discussing the outlining syllabus for this episode, I have food poisoning, i.e. a garbage can in my hand because I may vomit shortly. I'm not exactly sure how long it's going to last. I don't know what's going on. I've been burping nonstop for like 45 minutes. I didn't think enough air could be in my stomach to do that, and I'm quite worried that shortly it will begin coming out the other end or both ends simultaneously, which is funny because I wanted to start this episode with a story about a poop, and now it may actually be the highlight of the story. So that being said, we're going to forego some of the formalities because we need to get this show on the road. So Rob, hit it.
Welcome to BrotoGP. This is episode number 126. I can't even keep track anymore because whatever. It's been like a week since we recorded. Let's just roll right into it because, as Kev said, he is going to shit himself. You know,
Vomit.
Or vomit. I wonder if we're gonna get like instantly demonetized because we just started out with that. Like that's what happened last time when it was like a Kev only episode. You literally said fuck like 6 times in the first 10 seconds, and YouTube was like, no, we're not having it.
Done. Cut him off. Done.
Cut him off. That being said, if like there's some like copyright bullshit coming after you, don't call Riders Law. But if you get into a motorcycle accident, especially if you're in the state of California, you need some personal injury lawyers on your side because your insurance is screwing you around. You got hit by a car, something like that. Something bad happened to you, and you need legal help. Call Riders Law. They spell it with a Z. It's right behind me on the big, humongous banner. Check out riderslaw.com. Lawyer Rob and Cy are waiting for your phone call. Obviously, they do amazing things for motorcycling, for motorcyclists that need help. They do amazing things for our podcast. They do amazing things for our sport, specifically motorcycle road racing. They need you to give them a call to keep doing all that amazing stuff. So
we need you to give them a call so they'll keep giving us money to tell stories about.
Yes.
Joined with us for the first time in a while is my man Everett. You will notice that he's back on the Niner bandwagon now that they are 6-0. He's from the Bay. He's Bay Area strong. He bleeds SF. Never mind that they left. They're in Santa Clara, and only billionaire tech dudes actually go to their games. But they're 6-0, and Ev is on that bandwagon.
Wait a minute. They're in Santa Clara now?
Yes.
What the hell?
What planet do you live on?
I live in San Diego. I am also used to football teams leaving the city.
The city with no football team, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. It's been a chaotic few months, so yeah, it's good to be back. So glad we made it work.
Yeah, Ev finally found the time to record on a Wednesday, so he's here.
Dude, my wife is a saint. First of all, shouts out because
shout out Christina.
She's been pregnant. We podcast, literally going into labor, and then I've been gone for like 7 days straight. And she's like, "I'm tired. You can podcast." I'm like, "All right, cool."
For those of you who questioned our commitment to the podcast because we took a slight hiatus due to personal reasons,
wait, hold on.
You can go with.
I think our break was shorter than World Superbike summer break. So
yeah, exactly. So we took a small break. Never mind the fact that I recorded in Iceland at 4:30 a.m. in a car in the snow. Rob recorded from a Chevron parking lot on the middle of I-5, like with like 9 rapists in a car behind him ready to go. Ev's wife was in labor, and he was good to go to podcast. So for all of you who got mad because we didn't make a podcast once in a while, eat my whole ass. This whole ass you can eat. Dive in there.
I love how it's
for those of you who go way back on the internet, goatsy style.
Rim it.
A toilet paper roll just rolled out of your trash can when you showed it to us.
If you guys don't think I have food poisoning right now, you can eat my whole dirty ass.
Oh, man.
Not right now. Not right now.
All right, I promise Kev will be less angry maybe in 2020.
Dude, can you blame him?
No, I can't.
I
can't blame him.
He's got the fan base on him. He's got the food poisoning. I don't blame him.
I was just thinking that the Motegi race happened, and as I stayed up late on Saturday night and was like hyped and ready to go, I couldn't help but think back, way back yonder, decades prior to when I was 18 years old. And me and my friends decided that we had just graduated high school and we're going to go on a senior trip. Now, being the poor bumpkins that we weren't exactly flying down to Cancun or going to Lake Havasu, but we did steal my friend's dad's boat and we went to Lake Berryessa for a couple of days, which was a fun trip, right? We were messing around and doing stuff like that. But we have this friend, Marco. And Marco is not unlike the person that many of you have in your office or at work or at school, or your friend who will not go to the bathroom anywhere but his own bathroom. We all have that friend. Here's the problem.
That was me in high school. High school. I would walk home, take a dump, and then go back to school.
Right. So Marco was in high school. He's right. Well, Marco got over it too. So here's the thing. We're at Lake Berryessa. We're a solid hour from the closest, like, even remotely residential bathroom, right? Like, we're only using the fucking latrine campground, cleaned once every 3 weeks. They got the big black chimney sticking out of the roof to just vent the horrific smell.
Doesn't help as much as it needs to.
Doesn't help as much as it needs to. But you got to remember, we're a bunch of 18-year-old fuck-offs. So we are subsiding for 5 days on a steady diet of Costco chicken bakes, Doritos, and washing those bad boys down with Coronas. That is all we have to sustain our bodies on. And since we're 18,
Mountain Dew in there.
And blue Gatorade. Definitely blue Gatorade for the mornings, right? We're not animals.
To hydrate, like
we're not
Brondo.
animals.
Like
we need our right, because not unlike plants, we crave electrolytes on a steady diet of out in the sun, sweating, and not dumping. The thirst quencher. Now, the problem is we all start taking bets on if Marco can make it. He doesn't even realize we are aware that he is going to attempt to not dump for 5 days.
5 whole days.
5 whole days.
Fuck,
He is,
dude.
trust me, this dude is not on Metamucil. He is trying to be as irregular as possible. He's going to stretch this bad boy out. Unfortunately, 4 days into this process, he reaches his breaking point, and we watch him run to the bathroom. Now, like I said, we've got Costco chicken bakes. We've got Doritos. And I'm talking about the hot, spicy, wild Mexa Doritos. You know what I'm saying? We got the beers, the Coronas, we got Mountain Dew, and we got blue Gatorades. So his system is 100% full of the worst processed food you can find. So about 25 minutes later, which is how long I lasted to watch the Motegi race before I bounced as well, Marco comes out looking like an entirely new human being. I'm pretty sure that shit was beginning to grow out of the side of his stomach, a la Quato and Total Recall, right? Like, that thing was reaching out to me on the boat. Quaid, open your mind, Quaid. But it's a dump. And so he drops this thing, and Marco comes out, and we're like, oh my God, this guy took the first shit out of his fucking, other than in his mom's bathroom, in 20 years. Right, or 18 years. I mean, this is like the first time he's ever used a bathroom other than his one at home. And the first thing he says is, you gotta come see this.
It's quiet.
So being an 18-year-old guy, I'm like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
If my friend comes out, I mean, being a 38-year-old guy, if I go to Everett's house and he comes out from the shitter and he's like, so you have to come see this, I'm there. I'm all the way there. It's a
man thing.
It's a man thing. I'm here for it. Right.
You wouldn't ask to see it if it wasn't amazing.
The reason the toilet bowl is shaped where the button is behind you is so you have to get up, turn around, and gaze upon your glory and press it. Because if a woman had designed it, the button would be in the front. We pretend it never happened. No one poops. No one barely even pees. It's a chain from the thing. Girls don't poop. It doesn't matter, right? But dudes are like, nope, let me turn around, and as I have to lean over to pull my pants up so I can get as close as possible, but there's a water barrier in there. So Marco brings us up, and this thing would choke a fucking donkey. It was so huge. It was like my whole forearm. He did not shit this thing. He birthed this thing. Okay, this thing. He absolutely. This is like Captain Holt, the balloon archer. Right. He straight up birthed this thing like a champ. There are not women in the maternity. I mean, this like. if he was pregnant with this thing and podcasting, his fucking wife's friends would have been giving him his wife props about how I podcast while my husband had this baby in his gut. Anyways, so it was so amazing that, of course, we went and got our cameras and took pictures of it. Our Kodak Instacam, 24 shots, take a picture, wind the thing, charge the flash, develop that bad boy at Long's Drugs. Everett knows what I'm talking about.
I do know.
Well, there's no
right?
way that Long's Drugs actually developed those photos because they have
So-
limits.
It was Walgreens.
No,
and
it was
I did
Long.
my
CVS.
internship there.
Or CVS.
And
Right. So
they all have it. They all have it.
they actually developed it, and there is document of. I wish I had it now, but I guess the point of this story is when you ask yourself 30 minutes into this podcast, how come they're not talking about the Motegi race? It's because my random story about my high school buddy taking a shit was more entertaining than that entire race. So that being said, let's talk about some actual racing stuff that was fun, a la not Motegi whatsoever.
I fell asleep like halfway through, man, and I didn't watch the rest.
Are you wait? Are you sure you don't? Wait. Let's talk about this. Just this one little point here.
This one dump?
Hold
Okay.
on. No, not the one dump. The one little point I got
Okay.
going here. All right, here it is.
It was the one dump to rule them all, one dump to bind them.
It sounds big.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. We're moving
Title
on.
of, title of Rob Sex Tape.
Oh shit! I didn't even hear that one.
And so it begins.
I missed it. No. All right, we're moving
Okay.
on. We're gonna go a little bit out of order here. Let's talk about some World Superbike silly season before we get to other silly seasons. So,
Right.
if you haven't heard, the there's been a lot of World Superbike silly season. Obviously, like in the last episode, we talked about Garrett Gerloff signing for the GRT Yamaha team. The big news this time is that Leon Camier finally has a motorcycle to ride that may actually perform well. So after years and years and years of riding, he was on an MV Agusta, he was on the Honda. What did he ride before the MV Agusta? God, I can't even remember. But either way.
Well, he came from BSB where he dominated that year.
I thought he
You know
was
what
a
I mean?
Yamaha Supersport guy.
Yes, he was a Yamaha Supersport guy. That is true. But did he jump straight onto the MV Agusta, or did he ride something in between that? Either way.
I feel like the whole of human knowledge is in that computer in front of you. It's like 5 seconds to type it.
It's true. I know how
Leon
to
Camier
use.
career.
You just check the Wikipedia. That's all you really have to do.
I think he no. There was something before that. I think it was some Aprilia.
Delay.
This is like a trivia question.
I
Somebody
think
gets
the
this right.
point being, while Rob looks it up, is that Camier
a
has always
sticker.
kind of showed promise, especially on the MV Agusta. He had a couple of whoa, he's making that thing work. And he's finally on, a pretty good bike on a team that, Xavi Flores was able to. What are you laughing at, Rob?
The Wikipedia stops at 2017 because they don't even want to talk about him riding the Honda.
Right.
Oh,
It just doesn't count.
Shocker.
Done.
Shocker.
But okay. But so I actually never told you what's happening. He is now riding for Barni Ducati. So
Correct.
Michael Ruben Rinaldi, there's been something going on with the Barni racing team and Ruben Rinaldi. The team is a bit disappointed in him, although it seems like Ducati is not disappointed in Ruben Rinaldi. So they've split up, and Barni has hired Leon Camier instead.
Right.
Top
Yeah,
Which I
back to
think
your
is a
point.
good
At
move,
best.
personally. Leon, the one thing about this bike that he hasn't had in any other bike is this is a podium capable bike. Xavi
but hold
Flores
on.
is
Even
able
the
to get-
factory bike. I mean, with the exception of Bautista, finally. But then he's whatever now, right?
Whatever.
It's still, like when you compare it to Chaz, I see Leon being another Chaz.
Right, which isn't I don't think anyone's saying that Leon's going to jump on a satellite Ducati and set the world on fire, but it does make for interesting. I do think there will be times where he's on the podium. There will be times where he could potentially fight for a win or at least keep things interesting. I do
He'll be
think it is
in the mix.
in the mix, so to speak. Right, in the mix. Exactly. So,
In the biz.
yeah,
I mean, Leon wouldn't complain about being another Chaz because Chaz has a win and a grip of podiums this season.
That's why he did it. He's going to be relevant. I mean, the Honda
Yes.
was a
Exactly.
money grab. He knew he'd be irrelevant, and now he's got to go back to relevance, but no money. So it's give and take.
I mean, we don't actually know how much he was getting paid to ride the Honda. So
I think that's always the thing with Honda, though, is you go to Honda because you know you'll get paid, but it might suck.
Yeah, but it was
I mean,
like
it will suck.
Yeah, it will suck. It was
Right.
like the tie.
Marquez.
It was like just like, hey, let's wait it out. Let's hire the Moriwaki team to run the team, even though HRC is not actually going to be there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Honda Europe was actually putting all their money into the team and Camier wasn't getting a huge chunk of that. I mean, because he needed a ride. He needed off the MV Agusta team, which was tanking and not going to be in World Superbike.
Folded, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Or redirected
yeah.
their resources to Moto 2.
Yeah, I mean,
which
yeah. What
To a
did they
spec
even do
series.
anything? That was a fucking
Right.
cop out. Anyway, but you're. The way that team has always been funded and the way it was supposed to be funded, now that it was no longer Tenkate, that's where it gets interesting because it was supposed to be going back to factory, right? And that was the whole point. And
Well,
so
yes,
in
but
theory-
now-
in theory he got paid, but you're right, it probably never got paid.
And now in the 2020 year, or in the upcoming season, right? HRC is actually coming back. The Moriwaki team has been canned, and Honda has they're either going to run it themselves or they've hired someone different. I actually don't
Dare
know.
they?
How dare they? Right? It's not like
Moriwaki.
they were using World Superbike to test electronics for Suzuka and WEC,
Right.
Right.
which we heard from someone on the inside who will
Nameless.
remain nameless.
Keep
I can
drinking,
speak
Rob.
today.
Rob,
This
let's see
is-
that glass.
This does have
Let's see that
scotch in
glass,
it.
Rob.
I made
Let's
this
see that
glass.
glass. If
For
somebody
two.
will buy that glass for $300, Rob will sell it.
But I really like it.
Dude, that's just
It's got sentimental value.
I'm putting it out there.
Yeah, it's also
All
filled
proceeds will go to Kev's toilet paper fund.
Yes.
with not my racing fund, just toilet paper fund.
No, you get your money back for the glass, and Kev gets the other part for toilet paper.
That guy's dump was bigger than this. And I'm not even joking. Like, I'm not joking. It just not unlike when you join the Honda World Superbike team, it just disappeared into the cavernous hole at the bottom of the shitter.
Jesus.
It just snaked.
You'd have to
into
pull it
Oh,
out.
that's true. You had to look at it into the pit toilet because he didn't shit outside, like in a hole.
Yes. No, he didn't go take he's not an animal.
Savages.
I will say that I'm quite disappointed when I you wipe and then you go to flush the toilet and you look down and you can't see anything because the toilet paper's floating on top.
It's just a fucking pit. And the fucking thing from Dreamcatcher is just living down there, ready to come up and bite you in the butt. You know what I mean?
That's not cool.
It's not cool. No.
All right, Kev, take us to our next point here.
Take you to Boner Town? I can do that. Oh yeah.
Do it.
Yes, do it.
Okay, where am I taking you though?
I'll give you a
If
hint.
It's Boner Town. It's the one above that. The
It's
last
pretty.
one.
It's pretty
Yes.
close to Boner Town. I'll give you a hint. Monkey Fresh.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes. This episode of BrotoGP is certified monkey fresh by Rotten Bromatoes. So, my fucking
Who came up
man,
with that? Who did that?
Dino. Everyone just gotta yell Dino. Scott Redding's hero's journey has come full circle, and he is back. This dude called his shot, said he joined the team with the intent of winning a title, and fucked his leg up at the beginning of the season. I don't know if people don't talk about that
Broke
much,
his
but that
leg.
actually happened. His leg was fucking jacked. I got some wine here, and I'm going to use this alcohol to kill the bugs in my stomach.
Was
Thanks,
that
wife.
hand delivered?
Hell
wife.
yeah. Exactly.
That was like a stage hand, but you never saw the actual
She
hand.
Yeah,
passed him the chalice.
Yeah, it was just that was magic. Did that just come out of floating air?
So Dino himself, Scott Redding,
Dino.
the fucking babbies are happy, wins the BSB title. He wins it in down to the wire in the last race weekend of the season, in the last race of the season. Josh Brooks did his damnedest. He pulled off a hat trick, did what he needed to do, but Redding was in control, knew he didn't need to win every race. He just needed to finish on the podium and not make any mistakes, and he did it. And Redding, Rookie of the Year in British Superbike, calls his shot, and I am so here for it. I'm so stoked that he did this. Not only did he call his shot and pull it off after all the... I mean, this guy was ready to quit. I mean, he was going to hang him up. You know what I mean? This is the guy that says everyone's riding for free. I'm not going to ride for free. I'm not going to like do all of the bullshit that everyone's doing. I think he got hosed. We made a whole beneath the rubber episode about him. And I think Scott Redding's whole career kind of sums up like a lot of what Everett's been saying for the past, 15, 20 years since I've been interacting with you online, and that so much of your career is just based on what bike you get and what team you get on. What happens if Scott Redding gets on the Petronas Yamaha M1 in 2019 versus a production Honda for Grassini and a Mark VDS and all that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure would
I
have
was
went.
kind of hoping that you would continue to elaborate with that perfectly executed handoff.
It's always that what could have been, man. The politics and all the bullshit. I mean, I remember seeing Scott. I think he lost in Austin, and just seeing how emotional he was and like how raw he was, just sitting in the paddock, like crying, hands in his,
What in Moto 2?
Yeah, dude. I mean, and I was like, he basically, I forget what happened, but yeah, dude. I mean, the guy's just such a raw, emotional rider, and you can see it. He doesn't have any big money. He's just riding with his heart and doing his thing. Got amazing amounts of talent. Did have somebody carrying him most of the way, but he never got to that upper step that he needed to get to catapult him. I think there were chances where it was like, oh, maybe he's gonna get it. He just didn't. So it's awesome.
It was always massive setbacks. Like even in Moto 2, Dunlop changed the tires midway through the season, and they didn't work for him.
Yeah.
Right?
So here's the interesting thing, Kev, is coming out of GP, the natural thing, and you've said it a bazillion times over the last years, like now that Dorna owns both series, you would think that he wouldn't fall back to BSB. He would have just fell back to World Superbike, where he's already going now. But he had to go reprove himself, which is kind of like a fucking lost year. A BSB championship, good for him. It's good for his psyche and ego and all that shit. But he should have gone right back to where he's going anyway. And I think that's kind of the also frustrating part of the whole thing.
I don't know though. Go ahead, Rob. I have thoughts on that. I agree and disagree. Can I go, Rob, or you want to?
I'll take it real quick. I don't know if it was frustrating because it like he's essentially showing everyone that he's still worth something, and he's ending up at the best possible ride, right? If he had tried to go back to World Superbike, he would have pulled like Tony Elias moves, right? He would have went back to Aprilia or some shitty bike, whereas now he's going to the number 2 bike on the grid, right? He took one step back to take 2 forward, as opposed to taking like 3 steps back and then ending up like on a shitty ride.
Right.
I think a big thing about it, I understand what you're saying, Ev, because I think we all know this. Like, if you're on the GP grid, you're the best person in your, you know what I mean? Like, you would be a national champion anywhere, right? Like, despite the he had the most wins, despite the playoff style system that kind of made it closer than it would have been, all those things. Like, if you're in GP and you're a podium level rider, he does have a podium. And before that fucking Michelin exploded on him, he was fast as fuck in testing, if you remember, and doing pretty good. Then he was never the same after it exploded and they changed that carcass.
Yep.
But there's something to be said about going, I don't want to say back to your roots because he was a GP guy, but going back to your home country, jump in the National Series, drive around that bad. I mean, he basically did what we said we wanted him doing in Moto America, remember? Like, he did all his videos. He's just cruising around in a motorhome or flying or driving, dancing with his friends. Low pressure, win races. He proved a lot of stuff there. Not just that he can win, but that he could win under totally new circumstances. That he wasn't a quitter, with like how Aprilia, that he could be himself and endear fans the way he was. And I think, you know what? When Redding looks back, when he's a 50-year-old, 60-year-old man, he's talking to his kids or grandkids or whatever it's going to be, like, he's a national champion.
Yeah,
there's something to be said about you can be in GP and be Alicia Spargo and never have a podium but I was a GP rider for this many years or whatever, but like
Momola, whatever,
right. And well, Randy Momola won races, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Like, but at the end of the day,
what do the Lowe's brothers have to like say for their career? Like, I had the best manager and I rode that shit for 2 decades. Yeah,
I was employed as a racer, which is rad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating.
Don't take it away.
Yeah.
But
right. But at the end of the day, man, he's got that fucking trophy they gave him, that giant cup. He's a national champion. And he did it like in his rookie season, people were haters that he's not going to be able to deal with the tracks or the rough and tumble BSB or it's all new stuff and the weather inclement. I mean, that guy adapted like a boss.
It's a hero story for sure. I mean, there's
truly
definitely
is. Yeah.
And then the other, well, you know, look, man, I kind of baited you guys with the question because I think there's both ways.
So much baiting. So much baiting.
Go away, baiting.
Baiting. But you look at Bautista. What if Redding and Bautista had came at the same time? What would have happened, right? And then
so that's one of the main
that
comparisons.
That could have been really cool.
But
now we're gonna see it though.
But that's the main comparison, right? Is what Kev is saying is Redding going back and winning races and being a motorcycle racer again is helping out his career, and he's endearing fans, right? Bautista
and I think
did
his mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the ego, the confidence. Yeah.
Bautista did and said the exact same thing about World Superbike for the first third of the season. He's like, holy shit, like it's so much different to actually win races and to be at the front as opposed to being on Nissan brakes and show a suspension in GP. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But so I suspect that Redding will have better results in World Superbike because he went back, he remembered what it felt like to win, remembered what those results felt like, and then jumping into World Superbike. Whereas if he just went straight there on the same bike, like he'd still be on like kind of a lackluster slump from coming from getting tossed off a bike in GP.
Almost like a job. You know, like just I'm here to show up, like a job. You know, whereas I think going back and winning, 11 races, winning a championship, all of those things sort of proves like I can still do this. I mean, you go back to watch Faster, the old ass movie back in the day. What's his name? Michael Scott. Everyone on this grid is a hero. You say this, we talk about Carl Abraham or whatever, like everyone on the grid is a fucking stud. That's like the word I always remember he used like when we would talk about it. Like everyone in GP is a fucking stud when it comes to racing. They're all thoroughbreds.
Yeah.
Scott, people forget he was the youngest guy ever to win a GP when he won his first 125. He was he's like 9 feet tall. He's like as big as Camier. You know what I mean? Like
still is the youngest, right? Because they changed the rule.
Yeah, but I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I think he got surpassed.
Because now they have like the if you're the CEV champion, you can come in at 15.
A little early, right? Yeah. But it's to me, it's just such a great story. It's why we watch sports. You know what I mean? Like it's why you watch the human element of it. For me, like he's so jacked. Like on his he's so happy to win races, win championships, and all the haters are who are like, oh, it's just BSB. I don't fucking know, man. Who cares? The guy went.
BSB is hard, man. It's different. It's not. Look at all the people that go back and they can't do shit.
Honestly, I kind of think it's like Moto America without the driving, because it seems like they race on a bunch of tracks that are scary as shit.
Right.
Like the track conditions are all over the place. They're slippery. They're bumpy. They haven't been repaved often enough. They're freaking jumps. And then
narrow as fuck.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's the thing. How it's like driving on roadways. You know what I mean? Like they're driving. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine that wide. Actually. I couldn't imagine the jumps, and I couldn't imagine the narrow track.
Well, if you and I didn't get to watch a lot of the series, but I watched a little bit and read a lot of the news. The tracks he did not do well at were the really narrow ones and the ones with the jumps. And it was probably like strategy, like, hey, dude, these take a long time to master.
I could win every race at Assen, so just finish those races.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, he won all the races at Donington, right? He won all the races at Assen. Like the tracks he had experience on previously, did very well at. Where are the races at? I'm looking at the results here. Wait, where's Silverstone?
Oh, he won.
Oh, in the beginning. No, he just got a podium. He just podium his first time out, and then crashed in the second race.
The guy crashed into him. He got taken out, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I mean,
he made a lot of mistakes this year. He did get taken out a couple of times. It was almost like, what the fuck is going on? But I mean, he won 11 races. I think was the final tally. It's crazy. I mean, we could go on and on and on, but I don't think it's any secret that Redding's been a fan favorite of BrotoGP, at least. You know, like I think we all like
Always.
Redding. Everyone liked him, and I love the.
Wait, we're a fan of the hype? Are you sure?
I'm on the Dino train. There's no doubt about it.
I'm not
So much
necessarily a fan
hype.
of the hype. I'm a fan of Scott Redding. I think
Any hype.
I just love
Any
how
hype.
he just keeps it real, man.
Right.
All right, I want to
Wait. To recap. So he's going to
No recap,
factory
round it up.
Ducati. He's going to factory Ducati next year,
Yes, he is replacing
he's-
Alvaro Bautista.
right? And
The
who's
bike
his
is a
teammate
different
again?
spec
Chaz.
because
Chaz.
I'm not 100% on that. If
Okay.
Chaz is fully resigned, the bike is a different spec. He'll have traction control. I know they run a different exhaust, different motor. The electronics are completely different. So, but they're still on Pirelli tires, so that shouldn't be too big of a change. I mean, mid-season when Redding was started winning a couple of races, I figured he was going to pull the classic Ducati and choke.
Yeah, sure.
Right, because
yeah.
and notice I didn't say classic Redding. I said classic Ducati. Like what ends up
They stopped
happening, Ducati,
developing,
development falls off. They stop going faster, and someone else catches up. Of
Well-
course, he was facing Brooks and Bridwell, who were also on Ducatis. So it's kind of
His own teammate.
yeah, it's kind of a silly opinion of mine, since I should have realized that Brooks was also on the Ducati and it didn't really apply. And the Cowie is 100 points behind.
Yeah, that series is a little different. I mean,
Yes,
anyway.
very much so. Especially because they're on different electronics, right? So they're not
right.
they're not
That too.
actively developing that throughout the season. They can't. It's spec ECU. But yeah, last point for Redding. How does he do in World Superbike? Is he's not going to do Alvaro Bautista.
Is he going to win 13 races in a row? No.
No.
Because I think Ray
he's going to be a
upped his game.
contender.
He's
Yeah,
gonna
he'll be a
win
contender. He'll be a
races.
top 5 perennial, top 3, hopefully perennial.
All right. Yes or no question. Is he going to beat Chaz in the championship by the end of the year?
Yes. Absolutely.
Ooh,
No
yeah,
question.
probably. Yeah, I bet yes.
I mean,
He should. Talent, but
he
Chaz has
should.
experience. Chaz has experience, so it's
So
a balance
look at
of-
you could have said something about Bautista and Chaz. I mean, I have consistently felt, and don't get me wrong, I like Chaz, and he came to America and he was riding AMA and all that.
I thought he
stuff's
was
great.
American for like 3
Right,
years.
a lot forever. I remember he rode for Celtic Racing on that R6, and Chaz's story is great. You know, he worked his way up like from the doldrums to get that factory bike, but I believe he's significantly overrated.
Man.
I think he's pretty good, man. But I think it's a weird thing where Chaz. I mean, if we're on that for a second, he really matured and learned a lot, and he acclimated very quickly at the professional level, and somehow was
Well,
able to.
he tried to pull
get
Adobe.
above talent. He got above talent though. He got smarter in how he rode.
Yeah, he tried to pull Adobe in World Superbike, right?
Yeah,
tried to get the bike developed for him, tried to just consistently ride it year in, year out. And it worked for a little bit. Like he won a shit ton of races
plateaued.
after, like Laguna Seca and after in what, 2017? It just hasn't come to
plateaued.
fruition.
I think
No,
it's
the
more
talent-
than
the talent
he
can-
stopped, but everyone else kept going.
Well, and the talent can only take you so far. The intellect is great. The academics of writing can only take you so far. But the talent, I feel like that's where he's plateaued. He's so good, but dude, you still got to have a little bit more raw talent. I think.
It's difficult to say. It's difficult to look at his season and think one win and some podiums versus like
13 wins in a
13,
row.
14 wins, whatever,
talent.
15
Raw
wins,
talent.
whatever he got. You know what I mean?
Raw
It's
talent.
just
A guy jumping on a new bike, raw talent. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
and
but
that's
it's just,
the
I
thing.
mean, to
Both-
me, it just, I mean, do you think? Sorry to move around a lot, guys. I just feel like I might shit myself at any moment. But it's rough. It's
Stop
gonna be
it.
rough.
Stop it, Ev. Stop
The
it.
barn is gonna be solid.
We need the soundboard, like to
Yeah,
like, get the fork
exactly.
buttons.
No.
God,
Nope.
remember old school, the Trump soundboard that I had, like on episode 3?
Did you do it? You didn't do a Trump soundboard.
did,
The
yeah.
best
Yeah,
one
I
was
did.
the Arnold soundboard.
The
The
Arnold
Arnold,
soundboard
the
was
Arnold,
good.
yeah, the Arnold, yeah.
Every
Yeah.
once in a while, someone messages me, be like, "I binge listened to all 120 of your episodes," and I'm like, "Fuck!"
Oh,
I can listen
wow.
to the ones where I'm hitting the Arnold button.
The Arnold one was
Who's your-
some of our best stuff, though.
The Arnold one was from Kindergarten Cop too. So remember all the guys, who is your daddy? And what does he do?
Yeah, what does he do? Dude, I gotta go listen to that one again.
It's not a tumor. Yeah, exactly. But
We're gonna bring that back.
bring
was
that
so
back.
good. It was so good.
We've lost it.
Just,
We've lost
I
it.
don't. No, I'm good. I'm talking about Redding and Bautista versus Chaz. I mean, I think that Redding's just going to come. I think Redding is more talented, more accomplished, and better than Chaz. I think the same thing is going to happen if Chaz is still there. Is he's going to get beat. Redding's just a better pedigree of a rider. You know,
They both have 1 year of experience on the motorcycle.
And the good news is it's the same. Well, it's a similar motorcycle, we'll say. They'll be vastly different, even though they're the same, right?
Yep.
They will be set up way different. And
Didn't like the interview? We same. Different bike, but same.
Same.
Oh, man. All right. We're moving on. I want to talk about Argentina. So we're on World Superbike here a little bit.
Banditos?
Yeah, we're going to talk about. You can bring Banditos up all you want.
Yes.
So if you haven't watched Argentina in race 1,
Argentina World Superbike.
World Superbike. I apologize. I believe it was 6 riders decided to not partake in the first race. And honestly, it really seemed like the entire organization threw them under the bus. But we have actually kind of like a published letter from the riders.
Yes.
It essentially outlines the fact that they met with Race Direction. Race Direction showed them like oil seeping up through the racetrack. And this is from like an hour before the race, not like 3 weeks prior or something. This is right before the race, and so essentially they were under the assumption that there's no way in hell the FIM safety officers were going to let the race go forward, because that's not acceptable, right? You're in a corner, you have amazing grip, you hit one of this seepage of oil, and you have now crashed. The crash that Loris Baz had on an outlap in Ev is currently holding up a sign. It says, never mind.
Hopefully everyone gets the relevance.
We'll get to you in a bit because that is a contrary point to what other people may be expecting here. Yeah, so what, like the track, the paving of the track was severely delayed up until like a couple days prior to running a World Superbike FIM homologated race. The FIM safety officers told all the racers that there were multiple safety issues such that the track would not receive homologation. And just to go a little bit too much rulebook on you here, the tracks
Never go
received
too much rulebook.
the tracks received grades.
We just lost 30 listeners, man.
It's okay. We'll be fine. The tracks receive grades for their safety standards and for even their facilities, right? MotoGP can only go to tracks with an A grade. World Superbike can only go to A or better, right? There's nothing better than A, so it doesn't really matter. World Superbike can only go to tracks with B or better, so B and A. World Endurance Championship, WEC, can only go to tracks C or better. I find it weird that World Endurance goes to tracks that are worse. It doesn't. I don't get it.
Right,
I need a worse track.
the tracks that were on for 20 hours straight in the dark can be less safe.
Yeah, less safe. Don't understand it. It might be less about safety and more about facilities for that, but even still, there's just as many racers at the WEC rounds, if not more. It doesn't make sense. But like Suzuka, like MotoGP doesn't go to Suzuka. World Superbike doesn't go to Suzuka. I wouldn't be surprised if Suzuka only has a C rating. They might have a B rating, but GP definitely doesn't go there, so they definitely don't have an A rating. And that was obviously due to safety issues from quite a long time ago now. But so there are things that have to be checked off in order to get these ratings. San Juan, the new racetrack in Argentina, they failed. But as Kev is now gesturing, money does everything, right? World Superbike showed up at the track. Maybe they knew about the issues. Maybe they didn't. They held practices. They held races. In the end, a bunch of riders felt like the track was too unsafe in the blazing hot conditions that they saw for race 1, such that it wasn't safe enough for them to actually race, and they sat out. So like Eugene Laverty, Chaz Davis, 4 others that I didn't bother checking on Twitter. I apologize. But so So I feel like we're gonna have different points here. Ev, do you want to start off?
No, I'm just breaking balls, man. I always support the Riders. I don't think anyone remembers.
Well,
that
tell us what
actual
your
event.
sign actually says.
My sign says Pussy Racers.
Damn
Doesn't
it.
anyone remember this?
No.
What the fuck are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
I just
guys-
laughed.
Oh my God, the lady, I think it was Mid Ohio, when the Moto America guys, back when it was AMA, they did a strike, the exact same thing, and the lady in the stands was holding the Pussy Racer sign.
Nice.
It was a totally legitimate reason, and she was just some hillbilly who fucking didn't get it. And it was hilarious. And this is the same problem. It's like those guys assessed it. They're putting their lives on the line. I'm 100% with like if you don't believe in it, fuck it. Do not go out there and fucking kill yourself. You're already risking your life. Yeah.
I saw a lot of comments online.
It's ironic. I'm sorry.
I saw a lot of comments online, people hating, and I just kept thinking, like, we did an interview with Laverty at Laguna Seca where he basically said, I'm riding on a wrist that doesn't work, that, like, my doctor told me not to, because not riding and being on the track is actually bad for my mental health at a certain point. Like, that guy, that's how committed that guy is to risking his safety and his, like, and that's his livelihood. He falls and breaks his wrist again. Maybe he doesn't race for 2 years.
Or ever.
So, so if a guy who told us, like, straight to my face, like, I'm out here riding injured because I need to be riding that badly, says this shit is off the fucking, it's past the line safe.
Yeah.
I'm never going to question it.
Yeah, please take my sign with full sarcasm. I'll find the image if you want. It's hilarious, but when the riders mutiny like this, there is a goddamn good reason, and people need to pay attention.
When you said like AMA, I thought you were talking about that one time a race team was sponsored by the porn company. What was it? Was it like Clip
Pornhub?
Hunter?
That's in British Superbike.
No, before that in AMA, like there was it was long before Pornhub.
It was the porn hunter, MILF hunter.
MILF Hunter, yes.
MILF Hunter.
That's what it was.
I win. Trivia
Yeah,
win.
you do. Yeah, you do. No, I mean, so like they specifically got information from the FIM safety stewards saying, like, showing them like, hey, this is bad, right? It's just, they received information. They got to make this decision. Power to them for actually thinking that it was much safer for them to not be in the race. I mean, in hindsight, a lot of people have commented like, well, there were very few crashes in the race. Who the hell cares?
That's
right? Just because something didn't happen doesn't mean it wasn't more likely to.
Yeah, just because Chernobyl didn't kill us all didn't mean it was a fuck up.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, so I think what the riders that sat out, I think they did everything that they needed to do. They ended up racing on Sunday because the track temperatures were cooler and everything worked out just fine. So,
They got lucky.
Yeah, it's a weird situation, and that kind of it highlights the issue of the international nature of it. Like, what are you going to say to all the sponsors and fans? People show up like, oh, we're just going to cancel this round in the middle of nowhere. Like, everyone's already here. It
wasn't snowing. Like,
right. It would have just been like, hey, the riders say it's like a PR disaster, right? For a sport whose almost entire existence is PR.
Actually, now that I say it wasn't snowing, like, how does that compare, right? Assen was canceled because it was snowing.
Right.
But
like
San Juan
obvious.
isn't.
Right.
Is it literally just because you can't, like, they didn't show the oil seepage to the fans. So there was no public justification for the cancellation of the race, whereas all the fans can see snow on the track and understand that they shouldn't be racing.
Right. It's cold and it's snow. But you look outside and you're like, well, we're in sunny South America. Like, this blue sky, sun is shining. Like, we're here to race. You know what I mean? It's the optics are really fucked up. Whereas at the snow, right? Or if it's raining at night in Qatar, right? We've seen that happen. They reschedule the race to the next day. That makes sense, right? It's pouring rain in the slick, and well, not just slick, but the lights are reflecting off the water.
Yes,
You can't
yes.
see. You know,
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, right? Or whatever. Or there's a hurricane in Indy, so we got to stop the race after 6 laps. right? Remember that? Like, what I think like that might have been
Yes.
like the last time Rossi won a race.
And Nicky was on the podium.
I was there.
Nice. Yeah. So that makes sense. You understand. But, and that's the drag part because it kind of goes to,
Well, what you
probably the
gesturing.
larger problem with society as a whole is we no longer believe experts. Everyone's an expert because of easy access to information.
Wait, Wikipedia doesn't make me an expert on World Superbike?
Right, it's a whole separate story. We now that we have the whole of data in our hands, the knowledge isn't the data that you know, but understanding how to process data and how to make judgment calls. So when you talk about how we got rid of all the arts programs and music programs and philosophy programs, now we wonder why our democracy is crumbling.
I found it. I found it. I found it. I found it.
What did you find? The MILF Hunter image?
Nice. No, we
No?
found the chick from Mid-Ohio.
I found it.
Nice.
Okay, send it to me and I'll put it up on the video.
so good.
Send it to me and I'll put it
Okay.
up on the video.
Yeah, it's just a drag that has to happen. It's frustrating to have like arrivals at a track that no one's ridden on before or limited testing. It's like you just assume it's going to be there. Like what? That's why the FIM exists. That's why a sanctioning body exists independent of the promoting body. Like this is like why the doctors in fights are not, they don't work for,
They're not coaches.
they're commissions, right? Like we just had this thing happen UFC where in between rounds a guy hit an inhaler and he's like, well, we were told we could, but the commission overturned it, and the commission doesn't care about what the promoter says for the fight or not, right? Their job is supposed to be an independent commission that oversees the safety and, and like most things, it's got crookedness, but that's the point of it. And the FIM, that is literally its job as a sanctioning body, is to be an independent sanctioning body outside of the professional promoting of the event. Like a promoter and a sanctioning body are separate for a reason. That's, you know what I mean? You can't, like, that's the biggest problem in football, right? You have your team doctor, get back out there. You're not concussed, subconcussion. Like team doctors is a problem.
Yes.
Remember when the track doctor wouldn't let that one guy ride, even though like the mobile clinic said he could ride? I can't remember who that was now because I'm a little too drunk and food poisoning. You know what I'm talking about, Rob? Where
Which series?
it happened in GP. Wouldn't let a guy ride. The track doctor.
Yeah.
I feel like it was last year.
Years ago. This is the one I'm thinking of is years and years.
No,
and
it
years
happens.
ago.
It happens from time to time.
There was
yeah,
something last year where the track doctor and Clinico Mobile disagreed. But I
Yeah.
feel like they went with Clinico Mobile.
But the problem
but
is
either way,
Clinico Mobile's job is to get riders on the grid.
Generally,
They're not
as-
an independent.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and here's the issue
I
there.
think a lot more than kinda, man. I think that's literally the reason they exist. Is to keep riders able to race.
It is.
That's
and
different from
Oh,
keeping
I mean,
them healthy.
I've gone with Carl to the fucking thing all the time. He goes all the time, like all the time.
Well, yeah, but he's going
And-
for massages unless he's actually injured.
No, he's going to get like treatment on like wrists and fucking whatever, like just alien crashes over the years, right? Because they
Right.
never get a chance
Miles.
to heal. They're always hurt. So, no, the issue is the head versus like messing up your knee or an ankle or a wrist. They don't fucking care. They'll get you back out there. That's what it's for. As soon as you hit your head, it's
We
like
got
the
a problem.
NFL concussion
Right.
protocol, and they don't have one.
Right.
That's
Oh,
the
they-
difference.
they-
So they don't
they
know
for sure
when to
do
tell you to
now.
go out or not to go out.
They do
But
now. Even
I
Moto
think-
America has a concussion protocol now.
Yeah. Again, a
should.
law is only a law if it's enforced. So, right. I mean, it's true. Laws are
very
only
true.
laws if they're
It's very
enforced.
true.
You know
You're
what
gonna
I
get
mean? Very true.
melandried if you keep going down that route.
That's not a political statement. That is a statement on the existence of laws. in
Breaking out the
general.
melandry.
Right.
That's a BrotoGP rule right there.
That's
That's,
a
a law.
BrotoGP rule,
Law of BrotoGP.
I
for
think, but I
melandry.
think what Ev's point is saying is there's no protocol,
No.
or at least as certain as it seems so, to what
Judgment.
happens when a percentage of riders, an appreciable percentage, say this shit ain't safe. I mean, if 6 riders say the track, what is the threshold before they cancel the race?
Well, and
12
that's,
riders?
and that's the thing. It wasn't like it was actually more than 6 at the time until the meeting broke up, and then a couple people were like, "Oh
GPs
fuck it, I'm gonna go ride anyway." And it
Yeah.
was actually information coming from the FIM stewards. Like there is no, in my opinion, if if the FIM stewards have like enough information that they feel the need to present it to the riders, the riders
already
shouldn't be.
done.
Yeah, the riders shouldn't be making the decision.
Remember, yeah, and but even at the GP level, it still happened. Remember when Rossi and like a bunch of others, they had, I forget what race was, but it was the same thing. And it was like, well, they're standing water, and they did the little committee thing. And then they finally agreed to have a formal riders like union, whatever you want to call it. Remember?
Yeah,
It was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
The safety
more.
commission in GP.
Yeah, and there was like 3 guys who mutinied, and then they did like an unofficial. Rossi and Caparossi and like one other person said, "Hey, if we band together, they can't do it without us." And then that's where it started. And then they boycott that race, and then they did it like the next day or later that day, or they had some workaround, right? But then that group was formed, and things changed.
I guess that's the problem. Is there might always be like some information where the FIM is okay with it, and they actually have to ask the racers. Like it would be interesting if those situations never happen, but they probably will.
To Kev's point,
I mean, it did.
If the FIM's not going to do their fucking job, and I'm one of the racers like Larry, fuck you. And this is where they need to band together, and that's the problem. Only how many got together? 5.
The reason you have a union rep at a good job is because it's not supposed to be your job to stand up to your fucking boss who pays your paychecks and tells you this is fucked.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is why whistleblower laws exist. And I'm talking about like actual employment law now.
Yeah.
And this is why you have a union rep. Talk to my fucking union rep. You know what I mean? Like that's why you have these things. You know, you're telling me Laverty had to go because I'm pretty sure after that race, Laverty had to go explain to every single one of his sponsors that pay him to be on track to do a job that's dangerous.
Exactly.
Where are you? Why aren't you on the track?
And that's why they've released
he's the
this. And they've released this statement that is actually.
Nobody
I
read the
actually thought that Chaz and Laverty released 2 different statements, and then I pulled them both up. And I'm like, no, these are the same thing, which was nice to see that they all kind of agreed upon something.
But nobody reads the statements. Nobody cares.
It's on Twitter. Someone read.
They're not on the track. The casual fan watches the race. The sponsors are disappointed. They need to band together, and that's the problem, Kev. Is they need to band together, and the fact that they couldn't get that grouped together, and like Johnny Ray still went out and raced. Did he get a win and he got points, and those 2 guys didn't?
Well,
That's
I mean,
bias.
even
that's
like,
a bias in the championship now.
I mean, Chaz was in the race, and Davis was like, no, and they're teammates, right? Same equipment. So, yeah,
Alvaro, you mean?
Yes, that's what I meant. Alvaro.
That's my point, though. That the fact that he boycotted the race and he felt, and enough other people felt that it was unsafe. It was one person was just like, "Oh, I'm the one person, dude." They're all fucking insane. First of all, so
They're all crazy people.
yeah. So if like 5 of them say no, like, but if one, it's like, you're the one, you're kind of a pussy, dude. So no, but like five's kind of like enough.
The crazy Irish guy with a huge mustache was like, "Yo, this is a little sketch, guys.
I'm out.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to look around going, yo, what?" Like,
you might want to take pause.
right.
All right, we're gonna move on from this one.
Moving on.
We got one more point here. Kev, can you lead us into this one?
What? Oh shit! Hold on. What's the point?
Come on.
I'm looking. Hold on.
Come on, there's only one left.
I gotta put in my code now. I can't do it under pressure. I don't have Face ID.
Triple Z.
Right. Exactly. Hold on. I'm pulling up the syllabus.
Z's.
Fuck. Oh fuck! Speaking of guys who have to like placate their sponsors. Imagine being Zarco and being like, "I'm just gonna quit," and then imagine being the guys who are sponsored and are like, "What about all that money we gave you? And your job is to be there and you just quit. Like, you're not on the grid?"
I quit.
Right.
I mean, they still use his image for like posters and commercials and stuff, I'm sure.
Right, but
Kev, you got
that's
the
not
reference
the same.
though, right? You
No,
got
it's
that
not the
reference though, right?
Which one?
Quit.
No, you snapping your fingers?
I quit.
No.
Nope.
That thing you do where he quits at the end? Come on.
Oh, yes,
Where you at, bro.
Come
on, man.
The Zarco thing's wild. So this is a crazy story. Like, oh shit, hold on. All my power just went out and came back on.
I saw that.
Did you see it? So for those of you who don't know, I live in fire country apparently these days, and at the slightest hit of wind, PG&E threatens to turn off
down.
all power. So if I just
Shut it
disappear, shut it down. Shut her down.
Close it out. Kev, give us a rundown of the
Okay,
of the whole situation.
So Zarco gets honeypotted by this smooth, orange-haired, like redhead Austrian chick, and he thinks like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking take that bitch for a ride. It's gonna be great. 2-year commitment. It's gonna be all good. And like anyone who dates redheaded chicks, it's a fucking nightmare. They're insane. They're crazy. He has no idea what's happening, and he's out. He bounces. He leaves her. She's already got the wedding ring, and he's like, nah, I'm just done. I'm over it. And he's thinking, okay, I'm single. I'm not on Tinder. I'm not on any of that stuff. MySpace ain't around these days. And then he sees another hot, crazy chick who he knows is going to break his heart, and he knows is going to be horrible. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to ride this thing too.
That's exactly what happened. So in relation to that, Taka was actually hurt by the second crazy redhead chick. So much so that he feels the need to skip 3 GP races and let someone else ride his motorcycle. And at the time, and this is Taka Nakagami, just to let you know.
Maybe he's into that cuckold stuff. I mean, maybe Taka is that kind of guy. And you know what? If that's the thing you're into and your partner's into it and the sponsors are into it, who am I to judge? It's 2019.
As long as
Taka.
As long as the person paying for it is also into it, just
yes,
do it. Just
correct.
Do it. No, I mean,
You ever notice that it's weird that you can't pay for sex, but you can give it away for free?
I would agree with you, but that's how it's been for my entire life, so I guess I don't really find it weird.
Just conceptually seems odd.
Conceptually, yeah, when you put it that way, it does seem a little weird. We're just in the wrong country for that. We're in the wrong country for that.
Exactly.
Back on topic.
Anyways, right.
So just a quick side note here about Taka. At the time in which we heard the rumors of Zarco riding his motorcycle, Taka didn't have a contract for the following year. And I'm pulling my hair out. I'm like, how the hell
What are you doing?
do you commit to a surgery knowing that you don't have a contract and
Shoulder surgery too.
yeah, a shoulder surgery, which has been career enders for previous motorcycle racers.
See Ben Spies.
And he's fighting for a Cal sort of contract where he has the current year motorcycle, right? And so Zarco riding the bike is ruining his bargaining position, in my opinion. But of course, the second Zarco is officially announced, then 3-4 days later, we hear that Taka does have a contract. Turns out Taka is not getting a current year motorcycle in 2020, so he didn't get what he wanted. Which was
the reason Zarco was signed to ride for 3 rounds, was shut up and know your role and take the ride that you get. Otherwise, we got a guy who'll take your ride.
Yep.
Yeah, we got another guy.
Yep, we got another guy.
This guy will probably ride for free.
He probably would.
Well,
I mean, and HRC is all about having one
Rob,
Japanese
would you
rider
ride
on
that
the
bike
grid.
for free?
Yes. God, I would pay them my annual salary to ride that motorcycle for the entire
Would
season.
you give me your cats? Would you give me your cats?
$9 hobo dollars.
Yes, I would give him my cats.
Give my cats. Oh, that is dirty. Kevin wouldn't give him his
Kev,
cats.
I have to make more than $9 hobo dollars because I actually pay for racing myself. So it's at least, it's at least 12 hobo dollars.
Dude, he's got to make more than $9 hobo dollars because he owes me 20.
Right.
No, I paid that. That bet was so long ago.
So
the Zarco is nowhere close to the podium now.
The Zarco story is crazy. Like, I hear all kinds of rumors from he's doing it because he's gonna get Jorge's ride, to it's a bad thing that he has this ride. You saw that on the BrotoGP Facebook group, people talking about it was some sort of maniacal plan by Puig to hurt his career.
Oh, to destroy his career.
Right. It's wild because I think the main thing Rob wanted to talk about was he takes this ride for 3 rounds on a notoriously difficult bike to ride. Pretty much no one else is doing it. Lorenzo's nowhere to be gone. Cal, who has won multiple races for this team, is nowhere to be found. Taka's injured, and it kills his Yamaha testing contract potential. They announced that he's lost that job and he is going to ride for the Honda now, and now he's potentially permanently unemployed for 2020 because of this 3 wildcard stint or whatever you want to call it.
I feel like this goes back to exactly what you brought up with Eugene Laverty, right? Like, being off the motorcycle is seriously detrimental. So he's sacrificing long-term gain for short-term benefit because it's so bad to not be racing a MotoGP bike.
Right.
And it's just, yeah, like, so he, there was an interview, I can't remember who it was with, but he pretty much said, like, yeah, I took this and the Yamaha testing world is off the table. I actually don't agree with Yamaha's decision to take that off the table. Like, what you want is the competitor that's beating you. You want a spy, right? You want someone to ride their motorcycle to be like, oh, the Honda does this better than the Yamaha, so we should improve that part, because obviously Marquez is doing something around the racetrack.
Yeah, we talked about that. Like, why would Yamaha cancel that if he would get that experience, then come back to Yamaha? But
it's just this, like, there's hubris somewhere in there in the paddock that just prevents people from doing things that are like against their brand but still would be better for them in the long run. I don't get it.
I don't either, man. Being irrational is more fun.
I mean, KTM is being a bro here, right? Zarco is still under contract.
KTM is being a something. I don't know what they are.
Kev, explain it for us.
So KTM has effectively, like, he quit.
I quit.
Well, but he's still under contract.
Right. Is what I mean. It's like he said, I don't think I want to ride next year.
Not
and they're
feeling
like,
it, bro.
you know what? I'm not feeling it. Let's just call it now. Right?
Wow.
Like, it's like they're like a guy, he just broke up with his girlfriend, but they fucking still have a lease on their apartment, and that lease is fucking 4 months up. So she's just like, you know what? You sleep in the fucking den. I'll sleep here. We keep living. And then he's going to bring home a chick and start fucking her in the apartment that he's still leasing with his ex-girlfriend. Like, and that girl is just like, yeah, I guess I'll wear earplugs. Tell her not to be too loud. What?
Cool, man.
Kate, what in the hell is going on with Zarco that everyone wants to, like, be cool with him riding? You know what I mean? Like, that guy.
He says, honey, it's just some girl I met at the bar. It's not long term.
Right, it's not this. I didn't have an affair. I'm not replacing you.
It's only a month.
It's unrelated to our problems. I still want to be friends with you. I still want to, on your birthday, just for fun, right? And then I guess she's like, yeah, okay. Like, that's KTM. KTM is letting him fuck a new chick in the house they still live in because the lease ain't up.
Austrians.
Fucking Europeans, man. Know how to get a good time.
Is it legal to pay for it in Austria?
Probably.
I mean, it is in Holland, in the Netherlands. Never mind. I tried it. It wasn't as funny.
I'm gonna book a ticket to Amsterdam.
Got to go. It's so
Kev, I
wild,
love your
though.
analogy.
It's so
that was
wild.
amazing.
It's so wild.
It's because we got to think back. Like, you think back to 2003, and Honda, they hold Rossi to the, like, stone cold letter of the law, January 1st before you can ride that Yamaha, right? Like, there's this weird, they have these financial agreements that go calendar year, but the season ends in November, and then people test and ride, and it's just kind of like they allow it to happen, right? It's like a gentleman's agreement. You know what I mean?
Until
you can
they're
test,
not
it's
gentlemen
fine.
anymore.
Don't wear, you're not allowed to wear the leathers. You can't have the logos. So you have, like, Iannone with the adrenaline molecule, or Rossi with this and that. Like, they're like, okay, as long you can't be branding other people, because we might still use your branding for the next couple of months, but you can ride. KTM is like middle of the season. Yeah, you can go ride someone else's bike for 3 races, like semi-permanent. You know what I mean? You're gonna ride a huge chunk of the season. Like, actually,
that's a good point. There is no way in hell that the LCR bike that Zarco is going to be riding is going to be carbon black, right? And he's not going to be in any KTM branding. So someone could take a picture of Zarco, use it for LCR or HRC
they're
branding.
going to do it.
You're right. They probably will. KTM's getting the short end of the stick here. That's how bad they want it out of that relationship.
They're letting it happen. To Kev's point, they're letting him sleep on the couch. Kick that bitch out.
Yeah.
It's over.
Right. It's done.
Go to the curb, bitch.
I mean, so one other point.
I'm a Zarco fan, by the way, but
I'm pretty sure he's still getting paid. At least
Yeah, that's the weirdest part.
I don't know. I don't know if he's getting paid
to
for the.
couch.
I don't know if he's getting paid anymore because he's.
It's
riding
like
for
his
HSC.
name is on the lease, but he lost his job, so the chick's gonna pay the rent and let him fuck some chick in the basement. It's crazy.
That was next level.
Oh, that's perfect.
To be clear, I know that from experience.
Oh,
So
shit.
Wait,
I
were you the
had a
chick or the
long-term
dude?
girlfriend. No, I had a long-term girlfriend. We broke up because she was a fucking nightmare.
Was she a redhead?
Different fucking nightmare. But we broke up, and then we still lived in our shitty apartment with our 1-year lease. And at like 24 years old, I wasn't exactly like, neither of us was limited money, could afford it. So she just lived out the remainder of the lease in the main bedroom, and I slept on the floor in the other bedroom because we couldn't afford another bed. But you best believe your boy was out there. Girlfriend living in the house. The ex-girlfriend is still current cohabitant. Your boy is out there. Your boy was doing his best, a job.
Did you give her a warning like, hey, you might not want to be home?
Huh?
No.
Did you give her a warning?
No, because I fucking hated this fucking skank.
Yeah,
so
you
I
don't do
wasn't
that.
even nice about it. I'm like, hey, I won't even fucking speak to you. I am not interested. Yeah, we could live in the same fucking room because of because we're like basically financially required to.
That's a no dog.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a good story.
Wow. I feel like Zarco's a little bit more polite, or no, it was a little more amicable than that.
It was more amicable. Yeah.
A little bit.
Right.
Oh man. All right, guys. I don't think we got anything else. Let's get. This has
I
been the
didn't
quickest episode.
vomit.
You didn't.
I didn't vomit.
Wait, didn't we?
No, we did it all. No, that's it. No, we're done.
Rob sex tape.
Damn it.
So despite Marquez winning a race, there we are recording an episode.
That's
Oh
right,
my God.
That's right. I forgot about
For
that.
those of you who are bemoaning the fact that this season is perhaps not the most interesting season there ever was, and perhaps we haven't recorded as much, or you're just not super interested in this season, which is a lot of people, guess what? If you're watching this on YouTube, go to the other videos and click. Because other than race review podcasts, we have some other cool stuff up on that YouTube page. Or if you're podcasting, you listen to us audio only. We're not on Audible. Come over to the YouTube page, because what do you have? You've got a bunch of Rob's tech tapes where he answers 20, 30, 40-minute in-depth analysis of your tech questions.
I'm such a nerd.
Such a nerd. We got Dennis doing vlogs that are pretty popular about a variety of just personal motorcycle stuff not associated with racing.
Everyone
We've got
loves
reviews
his
on
MV
torque.
Augusta.
MV Augusta. We got interviews with Moto America riders. If you're not interested in that, you just want more track day stuff, you can get Rob and Dennis and their math channels. Have you ever been interested in how you could use data analysis to go faster? Here is your chance. Go on to there. It's kind of a long series. It's a little nerdy, but if you want to get fast, there's ways you can do it. You have to analyze. Skill acquisition is more than just showing up. The math channels episodes that Rob and Dennis did are a gold mine for those of you who actually want to learn how to ride faster. Instead of buying the newest titanium exhaust and the newest blah, 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 all this, get yourself a data logger, study yourself, write down what you do, study where you can go faster and how you can do it via that, and Rob can help you out with that stuff. So that being said, lots of other content that you can enjoy.
We got something planned with Kyle Wyman coming up.
Yes,
I'm not going to
a
spill
cool
it,
thing.
but it'll be awesome. And hopefully Ev will be on here a little bit more. But yeah, as Kev said, check out our YouTube. If you're over there, please subscribe, because it apparently helps. Like, it seriously matters to get subscribers so that other people that aren't subscribed see our content. We would like to continue doing it. If you're listening on all the podcast platforms like iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, what was that other one? The one that people, I don't know. We're a bunch of places. Thank you. Tell your friends.
Google.
Yeah, no, there are so many more. But that's it. We're out. This has been a
Boom.
quick episode. Peace.